My name is Wolter-Sánchez, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. I'm also hosting this show with
Talley
and Noah Reed.
We will be bringing you the Monday edition of Onward to Victory each week. So a little bit about myself. I am a sports journalism student. I'm a freshman here at the Cronkite School, and I would say my favorite sport is definitely baseball. Growing up in Phoenix, I am a big Diamondbacks fan, so that is definitely what started my love for journalism, was my love for baseball. What about you, Jordan?
I'm a freshman here at the Wolter-Sánchez School of Journalism for sports journalism. I would say my favorite sport is definitely hockey, and how I got started with journalism, it's just I've had a love and passion for like hockey and football for a while, and I said, why don't I go to college for this? So how about you, Noah?
Yeah, so I'm also a freshman doing sports journalism this year, and I got started with broadcast in middle school, throughout high school, and then that led me here to ASU. And my favorite sport's a little bit of a random one, NASCAR. Big motorsports fan, so
nice.
If you need NASCAR knowledge, you can head to me.
We've got a good variety here in the studio,
Yeah,
I would
we
say.
do.
For sure.
So here at Onward Victory, our first, little topic we're going to start with is our ASU team pick. So our ASU team pick is football.
This week we had a pretty cool football game this week. ASU versus Mississippi State. It was the first SEC victory in the ASU Sun Devils program history. The final score was 23-30 ASU with a crazy breakout game by Cam Scattaboo.
Yeah, that was really, really impressive. I actually was out of town, didn't see the game, but I was following along on X and Instagram and just kept seeing score updates and was blown away by the final result. And, some of the stats that just stuck out to me were the fact that he had 33 carries and rushed for 262 yards. But get this, he was named the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week from the Associated Press. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
It's definitely a great moment for Sun Devil football. I mean, we've had 2 wins in a row, and last year we only had 2 wins at home, so that's already
Starting
a great
the season
start
off
to the
with
year.
the bang.
Yeah. And I think it's just an overall great recognition on ASU football right now. And Jordan and I were both at the game, and it was just a great environment. And even though it was a great end to the game, it was a little tricky at times in the second half. It felt like we might lose the game a bit towards the end, but thankfully we were able to pull through. And it's great that we're getting this recognition on ASU football right now, because we do have a reputation of not being the best for football specifically.
Yeah, another standout almost stat to me was that even though Cam Scattaboo had 33 carries for 262 yards, he had no touchdowns compared to the freshman redshirt quarterback Sam Levitt, who had 2 rushing touchdowns. I found that to be kind of crazy. Though Cam Scattaboo had a ton of yards, Sam Levitt still managed to find the end zone 2 times that day.
Yeah, Ella, one thing you mentioned there I want to go back to is you guys were both at the game, and I was just flipping through social media earlier, and I saw that we had over 10,000 people at the game, which is, again, a double record for the last 2 home games. What was the energy like? What was the atmosphere at the stadium? What did I miss out on?
It was definitely great. Yeah, another great stat is that we've had for the first time in ASU history, we've had 2 10,000 plus attendance records. And I think it's, overall just showing how much of a great moment it is for ASU football right now. And you could definitely feel that in the stadium. I mean, we had it was a pool of gold. It was a sea of gold everywhere, and it was just definitely great energy. And as we'll see later in the show, lots of great moments in the crowd. Mm-hmm. And it was just overall great energy, and it's so great to be a student and finally experience college football. I mean, I know most sports fans are, big on college football, and to actually get to experience that live in person for the first time these last 2 games has been overall great for me personally. What about you, Jordan?
For sure. I personally had never been to a live football game before the ASU versus Wyoming game. So that was an awesome first football experience to have a blowout win over the Wyoming Cowboys. And that was just awesome to see the environment, the involvement with the crowd, the traditions that the student body brings to all these games. It was really an amazing thing to be a part of. And like Ella said, college football, there's such a culture around it. You know, if you're a sports fan, you're probably a fan of college football, I can say most likely. So it was just an awesome environment to be around and to feel almost, since it was this is the first time that the team has been 2-0 since, 2018, I think it is, has started the season like that. So to be a part of that environment on, as you said, those record-breaking attendance or the 10,000 plus, students in the student section, it was just an awesome environment to be in. So definitely try and push to be at one of these games.
Absolutely. If you haven't already been there, next home game is actually going to be in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned.
October 5th.
Stay tuned for that. Now, one thing that does also have a great environment, and as a former cross country myself, I can really relate to the environment of the meets. It's something you have to go to. Nobody really knows what a cross country meet is like until you're there. I actually went to one over the weekend, and there's the people, the crowd, the energy. It's awesome, and we had a pretty cool standout athlete. So we had Judy Chepkoech, and her collegiate debut on August 31st. At the George Kite Classic, she won the women's 2.5-mile race with a blistering time of 14 minutes and 9 seconds. It is the first individual title for the Sun Devils since Chelsea Trodden won one back in 2015. How about that?
Yeah, and you talk about, our diversity with our love for sports and stuff like this. These are the stories you love to hear. I mean, we do have our offensive player of the week, and everybody hears about football, but stories like these are stuff you like to hear. And I personally have never been to a cross-country meet.
Yeah.
But I think stories like these are great to hear, and it's so crazy because before our research for this show, I had never heard of Judy, and I had never heard of, this ASU cross country. So I think it's so cool to
yeah, for sure,
look into stuff like this.
Yeah, as someone also doesn't know much about cross country, I had also never heard of this athlete. Looks like she's done some pretty cool things so far for Sun Devil cross country with that. So yeah, it's also just awesome to see more women sports being covered as well.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of similar to Scadaboo, she was named Big 12 Conference Runner of the Week last Tuesday, actually. So, again, a really strong performance, 30 seconds ahead the next closest finisher. The cross-country team, they're hitting the road again, heading to the UCR Invite in Riverside, California, heading back to my home state in September 21st. So make sure you check that out. Give them a look on the social media. But we've got some pretty cool games coming up. As there's some teams competing today, and they're also competing tomorrow. Why don't you tell us who's up next?
Yeah, for our pick for an ASU game, we chose the Anika Intercollegiate. Our women's golf team competes in a 2-day event at the Royal Golf Club for their first match of the season, and they're set to compete today as well as tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Golf is another one of our great sports here that we're grateful enough to be very talented at here at ASU, and so that's another one to look out for in the next coming days to keep your eyes set on besides our big sport of football.
Well, and you're going to get pretty close to the golf team because I'm pretty sure, as you mentioned earlier, you'll be working with WCSN to cover. How excited are you for that, and what are you looking forward to out of the golf season?
I'm definitely very excited. Me personally, myself, I haven't really covered, I guess I haven't really covered golf that closely. I mean, everybody covers it when there's, the big matches going on and the ones that the Open, the Waste Management, everything like that. But I don't really cover golf as close, but the opportunity to be able to be a reporter for the ASU golf team, I'm so beyond excited and so beyond blessed for this opportunity, and I'm very excited for it in the upcoming weeks.
Nice.
And what about, I know you also have an opportunity to report on one team. What is your What team do you report on?
I'll be working with the soccer team. The
Soccer
soccer team
team.
starting next week. Really looking forward to that opportunity. I've done a couple of soccer games back in high school. Those packages are the ones I'm actually most proud of that kind of kick-started my broadcasting journey. So it's cool to kind of see it full circle and kind of going back to soccer. So we'll give you that coverage soon. But one of the players that you're going to probably be pretty familiar with, her name is Grace Summerhays. The senior is currently ranked number 153 in the World Amateur Golf Rankings. 2023 Pac-12 all-conference first-team selection. She's got a 5-2 career and had some pretty interesting quotes. Jordan, why don't you tell us what she had to say as far as about her season so far and what she's expecting?
Grace has put on that said, sorry, pardon me. Her chipping's gotten much better. She said, quote, "My chipping has gotten much better. This facility, Thunderbolt Golf Complex, provides a lot of different shots, so I'd say chipping is one thing that she's improved on most since arriving at Arizona State."
Yeah, and then we also got some pretty cool comments from head coach Far K. This is what she had to say. She's very talented, and I just want her to go and enjoy it. Have some fun and play some great golf. And I think that at the end of the result, when she starts and stays in that mindset, is amazing. But she's very hard on herself. Nobody's harder on her. Nobody's tougher on her. She's a phenomenal young lady, and I've enjoyed every moment of coaching her. I'm so excited to have one more year with her, and if we can just get her to take the experience off and just play golf, I think we're going to see some great things out of Grace this year.
And if that doesn't get you excited to watch some ASU golf, I don't really know what could. I mean, coming from her coach and coming from her herself, it sounds like she is a very determined player here, and we have a very exciting game that we've chosen this week to highlight that, we're very excited to get to know more. And so if that doesn't get you more excited for golf, I don't really know what could. But teams like this and people like this, it really goes to show you the diverse amount of, sports here that we have here at ASU and how they have their own, stars, stats. I mean, Grace also, like you said earlier, she has, she's ranked 153rd, but she participated in the 2023 Women's Open, and she's also tied for the 2023 Patriot All-American Golf Tournament. I mean, stats on stats, and she's just a senior in college. So can't wait to see the pros that come out of here in the future.
For sure.
Yeah, on paper, absolutely phenomenal athlete. And I think that's been, to me, one of the coolest parts about coming to ASU. As a freshman, each of us comes from a high school where a certain sport maybe was a standout. And for us, we had a basketball team that was really, really good during my junior year. Our women's and men's team both went on to win section titles, and that was something that was awesome. It was electric because you would go into the gym and you just knew that whenever you went down and you stood up in the student section, something incredible was going to happen. And I think now that I'm here at ASU and you can look at all the different sports, the variety, the caliber of talent from the golf team all the way up to the football team, it's so cool to be able to see all the different athletes be able to tell their stories. And that's the thing I think I'm most looking forward to out of this whole experience here at ASU is just being able to share these stories, like Grace, like Judy, like Scadaboo. It's just so much storytelling, and I just love that. So
For sure. That's also one of the reasons why I picked ASU was how many different sports there are to cover and to experience, from football to soccer to golf, literally almost anything. So that was one thing that really drew me.
Speaking of exciting stories to tell, I know that Jordan chose a high school prospect for our high school prospect of the week. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so for our Arizona high school prospect almost spotlight, I have chosen Cooper Perry. He is part of the class of 2025 going to Notre Dame Prep. He is ranked 78th nationally in the top 250 for the class of 2025, according to Rivals, when it comes to almost like prospect hunting. He's ranked 181st nationally by ESPN in like the top 300 prospect picks. 4-star recruit. He's 6'2". I think been playing football all 4 years of high school, and there's just a lot to to talk about for him. There's only been two games, of this new high school football season, and both coming out as wins for the Notre Dame Prep Saints. Perry has racked up a total of 211 yards for 28 rushing yards, 183 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns just in those 2 games out of the first season. Crazy explosive wide receiver, and I feel like we will definitely be checking in on him more throughout the season out of Notre Dame Prep School in Scottsdale, Arizona. So, yeah.
If you're anywhere from the Valley, you know that Notre Dame Prep produces a lot of athletes, and they have a great athletics program. And Cooper Perry's last name, Perry, is also the name of a great high school here in Arizona that also produces a lot of star athletes. So like we were talking about here for ASU, there's lots of opportunities here, but even in the Valley, here on Onward to Victory, we're going to talk a lot about high school prospects as well, because eventually you're going to be seeing these high school prospects at ASU, at the colleges, and then eventually in the pros. So it's great to see somebody like Cooper Perry here, and Notre Dame Prep is a great school for football, and so it's great to see prospects like this shine.
And Cooper Perry's also has some pretty crazy offers from big NCAA football programs such as University of Washington, University of Arizona, Michigan State, Arizona State, and so many more. As of right now, he's committed to play at University of Oregon, so we'll see how that turns out for him. But, yeah, super cool to see the future of Arizona sports and sports in general. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was funny because you messaged in our group chat, hey, I've never heard of this guy, but is he a good pick? And, I mean, it took me 5 seconds. I Googled and saw that he went to the Super Bowl as part of the Arizona Cardinals Youth Football Club, and he had offers from Oregon State. He's a 4-star recruit, like you said, and we both kind of were like, yeah, I think he's a pretty good choice to highlight.
He's pretty decent 4-star recruit out of Scottsdale, Arizona. I don't know about that one.
Yeah. No, it's definitely crazy. I mean, I know us as sports journalists, we all dream of going to big places like the Super Bowl, and the fact that this high school senior here has already, had the opportunity to visit the Super Bowl representing the sport that he loves is amazing at this age. So it's definitely a great pick for this week.
For sure.
So earlier in the show, we were talking about ASU's crowd, and especially now that we've had more, of a better start to the season so far with our 2 wins against Wyoming and Mississippi, the crowd has definitely had some fun with the newfound success. And in our first game, we had a fun story of, I don't know if anybody's heard of the Yo-Yo Kid, but for our ASU sport topic of the week, we're going to be talking about the Yo-Yo Kid. So our first game for ASU football against Wyoming was a blowout for the most part. I know a lot of people, even though we had record attendance, a lot of people did leave early, myself included. It was a bit of a blowout with a final score of 48-7. Mm-hmm. But towards the end of the game, one of the FS1 cameras panned to a little kid in the crowd doing yo-yo tricks.
Crazy yo-yo tricks.
I don't know if anybody's seen the video, but he now has a story about him and his family on Fox and on, of course, Tempe Barstool. And it turns out the Yo-Yo Kid, who is known as Christian Harper, he's from Gilbert, is the Arizona State champion, is the best in Arizona for his age group at yo-yo tricks, and he just practices on YouTube and Google, as he said. And so it was definitely funny to watch the crowd chants change from ASU to Yo-Yo Kid.
Yo-Yo Kid.
But it's definitely great to watch ASU start to, I don't want to say enjoy football more, but have a more fun crowd experience with the game, and have our own little celebrities like the Yo-Yo Kid, and even the sports reporters getting into it. I don't know if anybody saw I forget which sport reporter it was, but he ripped his sleeves off while he was reporting in the game. And it's like, it's really fun to see this with ASU football see the change in the environment overall on TV and in person.
Well, again, I think it all comes back to that environment and what kind of environment do you want to foster? And yes, it's no secret that ASU has not had the most successful football program. And I feel like as a overall school culture, that can kind of leave almost a bad taste in your mouth. So being able, to put on these performances is truly incredible, because I came from a high school where our football team was no good.
Yeah, me too.
The teams we played in our league would go on to win a state championship 2 of the 4 years that I was there. So I want to say in my entire high school experience, I saw maybe six wins out of a whole season. So being able to see that blowout, I stayed for the full game. I was like, I don't get to experience this that often, so I'm staying. And so being able to, like you say, seeing the crowd shift to Yo-Yo Kid was so cool. And actually, my little brother, for about 2 years, picked up kind of similar like yo-yo tricks, and he bought like a fancy glove. He has like 6 different yo-yos up in his room. He doesn't do it as much now because he's kind of focused on different things, through flag football he just started. So it's funny because I've actually experienced kind of these yo-yo competitions, and I've seen firsthand how much time and effort he has to put into learning these tricks, and it's incredibly complicated.
Yeah.
It takes hours of going back through those videos, going back, and he would go in front of a mirror, a big mirror that we have in my house, and he would just practice for hours. So seeing that like live was funny and made me really think of my brother, and knowing that, hey, people love what you do, and it's awesome.
Exactly. Speaking of unconventional sports, we have yo-yo competitions, but it's definitely fun. I think Arizona sports, like overall, I know personally you guys said that your high schools weren't the best at football, and mine wasn't until my senior year. We sort of had this odd little run where we were, I believe, undefeated, or we only lost 1 game, and we went all the way to the playoffs. And it's just so amazing to watch, just not only the environment at the game itself, but the environment overall. I mean, the school pride just for the sport and for sports overall. I mean, I think it fosters a new love for all of the sports, all the unconventional ones. I mean, today, just in this show, we highlighted cross country, women's golf, and football, and yo-yo. And I think it just shows an overall, more love for the sports community. And it definitely, I would say my high school's football run my senior year was definitely unforgettable. And I'm a Diamondbacks fan. And if you guys know anything about the Diamondbacks run last year, we're not known for being the greatest team. But last year, we somehow had a little hiccup, and we made it to the World Series. So I would definitely say that it just reminds you that anything can happen in sports, and any celebrities can appear in sports as well, as we had the Yo-Yo Kid.
Our on-campus celebrity.
Oh, yeah.
Going to sports events. And it was just like you said, fostering that environment. Just like me personally, love Sparky. So anything that Sparky does, his push-ups, anything he does with crowd involvement, it was just, you could feel the energy, everything rating off of everyone, just because of how high energy and how, like, some people have probably never experienced the state of the Sun Devil football right now. So it's just a truly one-of-a-kind environment, I would say.
Yeah, and as we were saying earlier, some of those traditions, I mean, I didn't know about any of the Sun Devil football traditions before going to games, so it's kind of, my friends and I were kind of just trying to absorb all of those. I didn't even know, like, at the end of the national anthem, Land of the Free and Home of the Devils, I did not know that was something that we sang, but it's just so exciting, and it gets you excited, and I mean, I'm sure we're going to be expecting, even though it's unfortunately basically a month away, our next home game, I'm sure I'm expecting a third 10,000 plus audience.
Oh, for sure, especially with this new conference alignment. There's these different teams that we're going to be playing this year.
Oh, yes. Speaking of that conference alignment, they actually just released today how the tiebreaker rules will be set in the Big 12. So something to keep in mind for the future. Not sure if we're expecting something, but I mean, when you have powerhouse teams in our conference like U of A, because unfortunately, we don't want to admit it here at ASU, but UFA, they're going to be going pretty darn far this season.
Yes.
Keep an eye on the Wildcats as the season progresses. But again, like you said, now that we have that football culture back, I am beyond excited. My roommate's from Tucson, and so we've already talked. We are going down to Tucson. We're going to stake it out. We're going to be in the heart of enemy territory, enjoying a great game of football.
Are you planning on going to the rival game for Thanksgiving weekend?
Absolutely. I will be there.
You will be there. One of my best friends goes to U of A, and we were going to do the rival game, but it is unfortunately Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
So we would both like to spend it with our families.
Yeah,
But
I will be going home.
but it is going to be exciting to see, especially hopefully as this ASU trend continues, and it won't just be a lost cause completely for us ASU fans. But thank you for listening to our Monday edition of Onward to Victory. My name is Ella Wolter-Sánchez alongside
Jordan Talley.
And Noah Reed. Make sure that you catch our next show on Wednesday,
Yes.
5 p.m. We're going to have a different group of panelists. Super excited for you all to get to meet them. And when can you catch us next?
next Monday.
At 5 p.m. on blazeradioonline.com.
Thank you for listening. See you next time.